Today we're going to be looking at the parable of the lost sheep and the parable of the lost coin. And I'm going to read them to you from Luke 15, but I'm going to be reading them from the Message version, so say for some of you that might be a bit trickier to follow in what version you've got. But what I want you to do is I want you to open your hearts to hear the words of God as they're written down here. And I then want you to, we're just going to spend a few moments in quiet, letting God speak to us through those words. By this time, a lot of men and women of doubtful reputation were hanging around Jesus, listening intently. The Pharisees and the religion scholars were not pleased, not at all pleased. They growled, "He takes in sinners and eats meals with them, treating them like old friends." Their grumbling triggered this story. Suppose one of you had 100 sheep and lost one. Wouldn't you leave the 99 in the wilderness and go after the lost one until you found it? When found, you can be sure you would put it on your shoulders, rejoicing. And when you got home, call in your friends and neighbours, saying, "Celebrate with me, I found my lost sheep." Count on it, there is more joy in heaven over one sinner's rescued life than over 99 good people in no need of rescue. Or imagine a woman who has 10 coins and loses one. Won't she light a lamp and scour the house, looking in every nook and cranny until she finds it? And when she finds it, you can be sure she'll call her friends and neighbours. "Celebrate with me, I found my lost coin." Count on it. This is the kind of party God's angels throw every time one lost soul turns to God. This morning, I was asked to preach a couple of weeks ago, and I've decided I don't like the word preach. Preach has too many pressures that go with it. So instead, I'm going to share some thoughts with you, okay? As if you were my friends and we were just sitting around having a cup of coffee. We're going to do that instead. Is that all right? Yeah? I prefer that. I can share thoughts with friends. Preaching doesn't sound like my cup of tea, but there we go. So I've got a few thoughts about this passage, and I'm going to share them with you, and we're going to be looking at each one, and at the end there's going to be an opportunity for us to actually get together, and we're going to pray with each other about some of the things that I'm sharing. But my first thought is this: God is active. When I look at these parables, and we look at the shepherd, and we look at the woman, we see an image of an active person. Someone that's going to do something. And I don't know about you, but that really pleases me. I'm really pleased that we don't have a dormant God. Okay? I'm really pleased that we have a really active God. For those of you who don't know, my job, my day in, day out job, is that I'm part of the leadership of a children's centre in Kings Lynn. And one of the things that we do there is we help families that are in crisis. And when I look at the families that we come across, I can tell you it's really good that we have an active God, because there are so many people out there who are in desperate, desperate need of Him. I come across people day in, day out who are struggling with money, addiction, all kinds of things. And we've seen some absolutely tragic things happen to some of the families that we're supporting. Last year we had a mum who has had all 7 of her children removed. One had been decided it would be removed even before she gave birth to it. And the hardship for that little child is not only that it's been removed from its mother, but it spent the first 6 weeks of its life being weaned off heroin. So much heroin had been taken in by that mum that actually they had to use all sorts of chemicals to help this kid come off it. What a way to start a life. And so it's really good that we have an active God. And it's really good that God is active in those sort of places. And there are people who are helping those kinds of people. And as we see in the shepherd, we see this shepherd and he goes for this nice epic journey, doesn't he, to go and recover his sheep. And the woman turns her whole house upside down to find the coin. And what strikes me is that more than just having an active God, we have a purposefully active God. A God that is purposefully doing things. It's interesting, at Connect Group, we sometimes talk about how can we make sure that we see the opportunities that God gives us in our day in, day out life. And we all agree, as we probably should, that it would be great to use more of the opportunities that God gives us, week in, week out. But I'm also aware that actually we're being a bit selfish in that request. It's almost like we have our life and we say to God, right, I'm going to go this way, I'm going to walk this path, and when you see fit, God, you just push someone in my way. You push someone in my way and give me that opportunity. And unfortunately, that's not what I see when I read these parables. I don't read about a shepherd who, after losing his sheep, feels a bit miffed, a bit sad, and decides to go for a walk and happens to bump into his sheep. I don't see a woman who is thinking, oh, I've lost one of my coins, that's annoying. Oh, well. And then her day in, day out, she just happens to find it. We see two people who actually decide purposefully that they are going to go and find what they have lost. And that's exactly the way that God is. God is purposefully looking for the lost. You were not found by accident. You're part of the purpose of God. And the rest of the people out there that are so desperate in need of him will not find him by accident. It'll be part of his purposeful plan. But that challenges me, completely challenges me about the way I live my life and the way that I choose to do things. The other night, me and Hannah came for some safeguarding training at the church, and after the training, Hannah happened to start talking to Lynn. Sorry, Lynn, I did warn you that you might get a bit embarrassed. And they were just having a chat, and then Hannah, as a nice person she is, went, Lynn, would you like us to give you a lift home? And Lynn went, no thanks, because you never know the opportunities you're going to get when you walk home. Lynn's already shown again today an opportunity that she took to speak to some people. Lynn is very good at this. She's got a real heart for this. She's got a heart for being purposeful in seeking the opportunities and not just hoping they're going to be dumped in front of her. It would have been very easy to get a lift home that night. And I don't know whether Lynn actually had a purposeful conversation or an opportunity on her way home, but she gave herself the opportunity to have an opportunity. And I'm not sure I do that enough. And don't get me wrong, it's going to be tricky to do that. Being purposeful in the opportunities that we have to take isn't going to be easy. It's interesting, but just before Jesus teaches with these parables, there's a bit about how hard it is to follow him. In the Message, it reads like this. Simply put, if you're not willing to take what is dearest to you, whether plans or people, and kiss it goodbye, you can't be my disciple. Salt is excellent, but if the salt goes flat, it's useless, good for nothing. I wonder if sometimes whether we don't really get the most out of our saltiness, whether our saltiness becomes a bit flat. And I think that comes from when we live on our terms. We're sort of hearing these messages already this morning, aren't we? About doing things the way God wants to do things, about living the purposes of God. It's not easy, but it needs to happen. And I think for some of us, one of the reasons it's so hard to live the purposes of God is because we don't think that we're worth much in the first place. Let me read to you a quote. This was quoted by Nelson Mandela. If it's good enough for Nelson Mandela, it's probably good enough for us. But he read this in his inauguration speech. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. They're really powerful words. And at first, sometimes it's hard to get your head around it. Because it's so easy to say, actually, the things that worry me are my inadequacies. The things that get to me are the bits that I'm not very good at. And all the time we're actually hiding from the stuff that actually means that we're actually quite powerful. And they're actually worth lots in the first place. Which brings me on to my next thought. We are worth it. If we are the sheep or the coin in this parable, we are worth the hunt. We're worth being found. And I think that's a hard thing for us to hear. It's not easy being told you're good at something, sometimes, is it? We go all bashful and, oh, thank you. You know, I know that when I lead worship sometimes, when people come up to me and they've been really blessed by God through the worship that's been led by me, and they go, thank you, Paul. And it's really hard work to take that compliment. It's really hard. But if I've been of use to someone and I've helped someone hear from God, then I should take it. I should take it. At work recently, we've done this thing called the Parental Satisfaction Survey. And every children's centre in Norfolk had to do it. And it's a real pain. It's really hard work. And what we do is we ask parents, how satisfied are you with us as a children's centre? It's a dangerous thing to ask as well. And it's mainly a tick box thing, but throughout it we give opportunity for people to say particular things, comment on things that have been particular to them, things that we've done with them that they want to say, actually, this was good or this was not so good. And as I was going through all the results of this, I started to pick up a thread for one of our family support workers. We've got a lovely family support worker called Amy, and she is amazing at her job. And whilst we know this, Amy doesn't know this. And as I'm reading through these comments, I'm hearing, Amy worked with me and she was fantastic. Amy did this and it saved my life. And we're picking up a theme. So we pull Amy aside and we say, Amy, we just want you to know that actually you come up quite a lot in a positive way in this parental satisfaction survey because you are so good at your job. The reason Amy's good at her job is that she actually really cares about what she does, and she's stubborn and she won't let go of things. But she didn't like being told that she was really good. She found it hard. She sort of brushed it away. And I find that a lot with my workers. My workers work in some of the hardest places in Kings Lynn, dealing with some of the roughest, hardest families. And they do an amazing job, but you tell them and they just brush it away. God wants to tell you this morning, you're worth it. Don't brush it away. Don't brush it away. You see, just like the sheep was worth the effort from the shepherd and the coin was worth the effort from the woman, we are worth the effort that God gives us. Because we're his beautiful creation. And nothing is going to stop that. And so we can just think that that's great. I'll try and take the compliment, Paul. And obviously we see in the stories, don't we? We see parties. Actually, I wouldn't mind a party. Not sure I deserve a party, but I wouldn't mind one. But unfortunately, that's not where it lies. Because this parable isn't just about us. This parable is about the people that are currently walking down the street outside. The ones that you will go to work with tomorrow, you'll go out for a cup of coffee with tomorrow, you live next door to. This parable is about the lost and their worth as well. And so we have a job to do. We have a job to go and actually reach to the lost. In Matthew 9 it says, "And he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out his workers into the field." I'm always amazed by this verse because I view going out and reaching the lost as a hard job, as something that should be tricky. And yet, Jesus says the harvest is plentiful. That means the opportunities that you're purposely going to look for soon are plentiful. You won't run out of them. And yet, there's still more. Because even if we accept our worth and we are no longer lost, and we go out and we reach the lost, the story doesn't end there. And in particular, if we look at the parable of the lost sheep, we see something which is actually quite crucial. It says in the parable of the sheep that the shepherd took the sheep and put him on his shoulders and carried him home. This strikes to me as an image of a sheep that is not okay. This sheep is not well. This sheep is not all right. If you were to open like a kid's version of this story, the sheep would have been like caught in a stream or, sort of covered in brambles or something, when they elaborate it and sort of add bits to it. And actually it's quite a good way of looking at it. The logical thing would be to find the sheep and walk home with the sheep, just as a shepherd would do every day. But this sheep is in need of more care than that. This sheep is in need of healing, and this sheep is in need of restoration. And this actually is a big theme in both these parables, is the restoration of the lost thing to where it belongs. And the fact that we are being called to help with that restoration. In Corinthians 2, Paul encourages them with these words. It says, strive for full restoration. Encourage one another. Be of one mind. Live in peace. What do you need restoring from? What things are stopping you? What things are holding you back? Do you know what? I guarantee you, whatever they are, you'll find someone out there who feels exactly the same. But they feel exactly the same. And the problem is that restoration is this really tricky thing. For some people, we see restoration come really quickly. And it's great. It makes us excited. We see people healed. We see people feeling better about themselves. We see situations change. And it's great. It really is party time. But for other people, restoration is a slow, hard job. And for all of us, we probably won't find full restoration until we see Jesus face to face. But we have to seek restoration. The sheep can't come home on its own. It needs to be carried home. And this brings me to my last point. How do we live as a people of restoration? How do we do that? I would love to stand here and give you a 3-point plan on how to bring restoration to your life and to the people that you come into contact with every day. But the truth is I can't. The truth is I don't know. But I do have some thoughts about things that I could do, and maybe you could do, which may bring us to a place where we see more of it. The first thing is that we need to take the opportunities. Not just for those that are outside that need us, but for ourselves as well. You're going to have an opportunity this morning. You need to take it. You need to take it. Because too often we run on empty, hoping it'll be okay. And often God perseveres us through those situations, and it's great. But He wants us to be restored too. We also need to be real with people. I've always, when I was a kid growing up, or a young person, if I ever went to something where a Christian was speaking, I had this really big issue with them. And that is that they were what I call a professional Christian. Okay? The ploy was that actually I became a professional Christian at one point as well. But I always thought, it's easy for you. You get paid to tell us this. You get paid to live your life like this. And whilst I don't disagree with what you're saying, you're paid for it. Surely that makes it easier. I can tell you, having been a paid Christian worker, it doesn't make it easier at all. And actually, the key to being a paid Christian worker, well, that is a horrible term, professional Christian, isn't it? I don't use it that often. But the key is that actually you have to be real. When I was the youth worker, it would be so easy for my young people to see this beautiful person that was so holy, so spiritual. Yes, I read my Bible every day, and I pray every day, and I never have a wrong thought or a wrong deed. And do you know what? You can't go your life as a youth worker lying to your young people. It doesn't work. And I can tell you through the practice that I've had and through the experiences I've had is that people really value people who are real, who are authentic, who don't hide behind something. One of the people that I used to network with a little bit when we do youth work was called Lee Jackson, and he ran this thing in Leeds. And Lee Jackson was talking once, and he would play the hello game with people at work. You know the hello game. You go to work and you say hello, and the other person goes hello, and you go, how are you? And they go, fine. And you go, how are you? And you go, fine. Yeah? And then that's it. And Lee Jackson decided to play the hello game. So it's like, hello, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. How are you? Well. Actually, I'm feeling a bit sore today, or I had a rubbish night's sleep. Lee said it's quite interesting how many people stopped saying hello to him. And the sad thing is that actually he would have been very happy for someone to respond in exactly the same way. He was actually interested to know. But it took him to actually make that step, to make the changes. He also used to hide Easter eggs in people's drawers, Cadbury's cream eggs. Apparently that went down really well. The hello game, not so much. Cadbury's cream eggs did. But we have to be purposeful in it. We have to be real with it. It will affect people if you are real with them. Doesn't mean they'll always like it. As a leadership, we have a challenge of being real with each other and with you guys. It's hard work, but it's worth it. Because it's hard work, it's not something you can do on your own. That's the good bit. And this is the bit where we get to actually spend some time with each other and pray with each other. It's that opportunity. You've now got the opportunity for an opportunity. Okay? You can get to say hello to someone and ask them how they are. And they have the opportunity to tell you how they actually feel. Whether they will or not, it's their choice. But I really believe that God is calling us to support each other in the reality of going out and purposely looking for the lost and bringing them back to Him and helping them be restored. And that is not an easy job. That is a time-consuming, long job. It will take you out of your way. You may have to say no to a lift and walk home instead. You might need to sort of go out of your way to do something maybe you don't want to do, but actually really support someone. Let's just listen to those words that Nelson Mandela spoke again. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. I want to encourage you now, get into 4s or 5s, or however it fits around. And I want you to ask the people how they are. And they have the opportunity to respond honestly, or they can just say, I'm fine. If they say I'm fine, they might actually be fine. so don't push too hard. Okay, they might actually be all right, and that's okay. Ask them how they are, and ask them how they need God to work in their life this week. What opportunities do they want to make the most of? What situations are they going to face that they're going to find hard? And that they need to know that the active God is standing behind them. As I've been preparing for this morning, a few things have come that I think are really important. I've got a picture for you, and then I've got two types of people that two sort of things that I think God wants to sort out. First of all, the picture came to me when I was walking into church this morning, and my walk into church this morning was quite wet, because I discovered this morning that my shoes leak. Okay? And so I actually, you're more blessed than the early service, because I had to preach with bare feet in the early service. Fortunately, my wife brought me extra socks and shoes, and that's very good. But I believe God wants to speak to us about actually stepping into the water. And so for someone here, that's going to make sense. This idea that actually there's no choice but to get your feet wet. Okay? So if that's you, come and have some prayer afterwards. Hopefully it'll make more sense to you than it does to me currently, but it's a picture I think I had to share. I also feel that for at least someone here, the word courage is really strong, and the fact that you need courage. Okay, so if that's you, come and have some prayer. And I also feel, but potentially it could be Alan after his fall, is that actually someone's got a sore upper left leg. Okay, so if that's you, come and get some prayer. Okay, I'm just going to read that quote to you again because it's a brilliant quote. We've been talking about that quote in our little group. And then, Jessica, if we could have a final song. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, Deerham Baptist Church, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.